Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this evening's ESL Pro League. And it is, of course, Counter-Strike Go. And well, Fnatic just swept aside G2 Esports in the first map of Cobblestone. But reset your minds, reset your memories, reset everything. Mental fortitude, all that malarkey. Because now we're moving on to Inferno, Yanko, who is joining me today. It is just the two of us. It's more of an intimate setting. We felt we'd get rid of the rest of the guys because Yanko's all the knowledge we need. And talking about all the knowledge we need, you have broke down G2 on this map. You broke down where they beat Fnatic 16-14 just a couple of weeks ago. Tell us exactly how they're going to do it again.
I don't know if they're going to be able to do it again, but the thing that's different now on this particular map compared to Cobble is that on Inferno you have more room to go for certain setups on your city side, so you're not as reliant on your individual, on your players' performance individually. You can work around, play the map itself more than the players, right? But again, it comes down to Fnatic, and Fnatic doesn't care about aggressive banana smokes, about the car smoke, and so on. They will have no problem just with a single pop flash going as a group towards mid, using the numbers to get that mid control, which they do a lot, and from play it from then on. Maybe if they get the entry kill there, they're just pushed towards the site. Maybe they'll wait and so on. But it was a good map for G2 in Minsk. They played it and they beat Fnatic 16-14. And even in that game, they made a couple of small mistakes, but they still managed to pull through in the end. So I think that whatever happens, Shox needs to have a better game at least.
Yeah, and we talked about this before, about players, how sometimes it really is just the map. Maybe Cobble is just not his map, just not his thing. We've seen players pull out monster performances on one map and then just disappear on the next. Do we feel that something's going to happen here? I mean, Inferno is definitely a map that's been around for a long time. Everybody all knows Inferno. Fnatic are going to be very comfortable. G2 are going to be very comfortable on it. Do we feel it's just maybe the position he's asked? He was more of the lurker role, I guess, technically on Cobblestone. He was always the guy that would be the solo guy in B, and obviously when he was dying, there was nothing left open for G2. Obviously, it's a very, very different map. You're not going to be the lurker. You're going to be that solo man. You're going to be more of a defensive guy this time around, or maybe protruding into apartments or something like that. Is it just purely down to that? I mean, how's about yourself? Did you always have a map that you just felt, I love this map, or I'm just absolutely awful on this map?
Yeah, definitely as an individual and as a team as well. Sometimes there are 7 maps in the pool. There's only one you possibly never have to play. You can always have that one veto, but some of the maps you pick them up because you think it's going to be good for you to play that map against your opponents, not possibly because you particularly like it, right?
Yeah, so maybe you generally know the position that your opposition is going to play. So, like I can get the better of this guy on this point.
Yeah, so maybe there is a factor to it that some maps are more preferable. I just think that it was a bad game, and that's it happens from time to time. I wouldn't be surprised if he just comes back in this
smashes it
second map. But the thing is, in order for G2 to be able to do that on their city side, what I was talking about, what I was referencing, is they need to have a good start. If you don't have a good start, you don't have the strong economy which you need to get all those smokes, incendiaries, and so on to go for banana control or app control, whatever. And especially against a team like Fnatic, if they get off to a good start, then they're just going to abuse you.
And let's just briefly, before we finish, talk about Fnatic. Obviously, they are the team to beat still, worldwide. Everybody keeps on looking at them. The NIP went through this phase. What do people have to do? How do they focus? What do they do to beat Fnatic?
Well, we've seen a couple of teams come close, especially Luminosity and Navi. And what distinguishes those two teams is that they also have a great strategic approach. So you need, that's the way maybe you can beat them, but also, as I keep pointing out, you need to be on point individually because of the amazing firepower that team has.
Gotta be good is what I gotta do. We're gonna go over to the casters, guys, for map number 2. It is Inferno, Fnatic versus G2. Pansy and Sadikis, take it away.
Alrighty, a bit of a tough task at hand now for G2. They've done this before. They have been Fnatic on this map. However, I don't know if we're seeing that G2 today, and I don't know if we're going to see the same Fnatic today, but it can be done and it is possible. What are your thoughts on these two going head-to-head here?
I think it's appropriate that we're on Inferno because G2 just got roasted. No, I mean, look, we know right now that Fnatic is hitting shots. We need Shox. I'm looking at Shox right now to show up. RPK, hats off to him. He's definitely the player of the last map for G2, if you can take
Yep.
any consolation from it. But we gotta look at Shocks right now.
All right, Shoxy, where art thou? I want to see him turn up. This guy can be a monster. Now, last time these two played, wait, was that their coach in the knife for G2 then?
For G2? Where? Oh yeah, it is. What's Nick doing in there? Why is,
Oh,
why
no,
is
no.
someone...
So he didn't join the spectator, I think.
Ah, okay.
So I think
right.
it
yes.
is okay. It is okay.
Yeah, if... Oh,
I was so
wow.
baffled then.
What is wrong with me in this...
He's
Pansy
struggling to type in the IP. If you want to see someone on the struggle bus right now, you just need to look at this guy real close. I'm glad we've gotten rid of like the solo cameras that were like staring us in like extreme HD just a couple of days ago, because you'd be having a real good time right now. But still, hopefully for your sake, you can work out how IPs work. I believe in you. But while that happens, they have got the sides down. They've got it locked in. G2 have everything at hand. They've done this before. They can do it again in theory. But there's a lot of pieces that are certainly missing from the puzzle in the previous game that they need to put into place right now.
Absolutely. I mean, the other thing with this map is if Fnatic get rolling and they get the confidence that we know Fnatic is scary with, this map in particular, they will rush everywhere. They'll take middle from you. If you walk in a banana, they'll trap you in there. They'll take the banana, push you over back toward... I mean, the best chance is actually this, is trying to get into apartments. That's the one place where they do sometimes leave a bit of a gap. But Flusha, he's not going to leave anything for Smiths going forward. So that's one done already. Let's see if they can get anything else rolling. Olaf forced back slightly on the arch just due to this pressure, but already look at Crims there to support.
I love this. Crims was already in place when this began, and to be fair, it's not exactly an unknown play from G2, and there's Crims' nade just placing itself to the feet of RPK. Now down to 2. It's down to Scream and Existence, and already Dennis and Flush are going to find them real comfortably. And Fnatic pick up the first round, keep 3 alive, and get themselves ready to embrace what G2 bring into this one. And the coach is real having a great time here. needs to get into the slot to be able to actually be in the coaching position.
That's it. I'm calling for ghosting. Someone get this guy out of here.
I believe in you can
I'm not getting in the server. The game doesn't like me. So.
How are you not doing this? You cast this round and I'll make this happen.
Okay, all right, we got this. I think I can at least cast. I think that's something that I might be okay.
We hope so.
Well, Smith's going to try and push with Tech 9s instead. Now, once again, just allowing any activity on that A site does mean that they know the force buy in this one means the SMGs will be more viable for not only this round to farm up money, but the next as well. So again, 2 MP9s. This is Fnatic responding exactly to what the scenario was in the first round. What they're not reacting to is Smith's getting a good shot. Dennis, mind you, he'll compensate, bring back the deficit. However, 7 HP, he needs to make sure he gets around that corner, and when he does, he realizes, wait a minute, where's my support from Arch? They're already inhabiting the A site, so a much better round already from G2 as Olaf and Crims now left to try and clutch this out, both with SMGs, mind you. But they've given up an M4 to Smiths, which is a big problem.
Yeah, real big issue. And there's still flashes left on G2. They can really quite easily control the situation. Assuming they don't get caught out here. And there we go. Shox just leaps around and does get himself into this game pretty comfortably so far. 2 kills already. So doing a lot better than before. Olaf trying to take the most as he could on that one. But RPK with the Deagle going to say no. And a nice rep from G2 utilizing CT Arch perfectly almost that time, and something that Fnatic dealt with real easily on the first go of things. G2 just overpowered them with slightly upgraded weapons, and the Tech 9s coming through and such really paid off. Now, Fnatic going to just go back into it, like, okay, you're going to do that to us? Fine, we'll get the CZs, we'll get the 5.7s, a Deagle, a P250, full armor to boot as well, excluding Flusher, who's only got just the normal armor, no head armor there. But then again, there is a couple of rifles actually on the G2 side, and it looks like they're already testing the waters over at B. That's where Olaf and Crims are going to be playing it out, and they are going to be checking this corner. Nice little double peek then coming through from G2. Existence claims it, but early work done, forcing the rotate out of Flusher, and Dennis having to push forward, and Shox is waiting ever so patiently in those apartments to see if maybe he could catch JW, but JW is slightly further ahead here. So G2, if they go off the back of this B play, there is Flusher and Crims already waiting.
Yeah, that's the big thing here. So far, so good. G2 getting this early round, but that's going to offset it slightly. JW, he'll take back the little bulldozer MP9 that was once his. I coined it the sewing machine.
It's quite a nice name. It's actually fitting.
Yeah, well, in the B they're going to go. I don't know how far they'll get. Good smoke off to force Flusha around the corner. That puts him behind a second one that's also dropped out on the spools. But look at Orange's 2 right now. There's a smoke inside the side, and they're not going to be aware of this, so there's a chance. The Crims could do massive damage here. Finally, though,
What?
Smiths is going to burn him alive, but He kills RPK in the process.
How is Smith doing this? I think that's his second team kill now, and Fnatic actually have a shot at this one. It's down to 2 players. Scream in existence. Scream's in the side. That's an awkward position to hold, and existence is just praying there's no one in Banana right now. Scream's trying to face down towards CT. He gets down one. He spots out another. But can they create a crossfire? Existence can't leave that spot. He finally turns around. Fnatic are closing in, but the spray comes out, and this should connect well enough here. They're both so low. Scream does close down, but what a close round indeed. Losing 3 players. They at least keep both of the rifles into play. They did lose out on one, if I'm not mistaken, the M4. And so far, G2 keeping it at a decent level here.
I would say this is a reasonable consideration. That was far too close for comfort, though, because this does keep the economy honest. Smartly, though, they've gone for 2 SMGs. So they can look for some early information, and it's full save. Absolutely nothing bought up right now from Fnatic. They'll try and sit back. Not even a stack. Well, there was initially not, but they've now got 2 players deep inside the A site. They're bringing that 4th one back over just off the little bit of early utility already expended on the B site. Smith's going to throw another smoke out toward that CT connection, and then he'll go again. Lead the charge with the SMG. So that if he can get kills, great. Money, money, baby. But if not, well, at least they get the information. Smith's going to push all the way through. Connector as well. Going to take down JW and finally gets caught out by Flusha, but the bomb's already in a good position. The problem is the bomb's going to have to be solo because somehow Fnatic's finding just the amount of kills that would leave him exposed in the site if he went for the plant. So RPK has to reconsider how aggressive he would like to be in this situation.
All that said and done. Bomb yet to go down. RPK is actually taking the aggressive peek on this one, trying to get himself a safe situation to play in, and he does indeed get that. Dennis and Flusha do fall, and another one on the board for G2. This is a solid start for these guys. This is exactly what they needed to get going in this. Not let Fnatic start tearing away early on. You know, once you get Fnatic in that position, they won't let it go. They will run with this until it is done. So at least G2 are starting to get building up early here. So G2 now, hell of a lot of mollies. I'm hoping we get to see some of those kind of like nice wraps through CT Arch. Great plays of that. We've seen a lot of the tendency towards B so far, but yet a lot more in the G2 trick book and play at this point. But Olaf's going to be the man on point on B here again. Quite aggressively pushed up on his own. Going to put down the close smoke, back away from it. And G2 forced to slow it down and play a little bit calmer. Utilize some of these mollies to clear and push back the rest of Fnatic.
Smokes, top middle apartments, and on the Arch side already. 5 smokes currently out across the map. That's how active this early part of the round has been. Now, what that does mean is that Fnatic has already used all but 1 smoke. So they've baited out the defensive utilities. G2, they've kept those Molotovs, as you said, as well as 3 smokes to work with. So they have a lot of execution potential right now. Forward stance, aggressive peek from JW, utilizing that last little bit of opportunity for cover that he does have, and Flusha would have been there to capitalize on anyone that pushed through, but now, as they've lost all this utility, they do have to go passive. They have to give up so much more map control and space for G2.
How are G2 going to work off the back of this? They've been doing well on the CT Arch wraps. I'm hoping maybe they try and test out quad, but then again, JW is waiting ever so patiently. He's got Dennis on site, so a little bit of a passive setup here, not exactly actively looking for these trades, but it's Smiths and RPK testing out CT Arch again. Flusha this time doesn't have any of this. Smiths does go down, and the great peek off the back of it takes RPK out of the picture. And Fnatic just showing dominance in these crossfires, not allowing a single player to break through, and there's JW again coming in, and really nicely played and well set up by Fnatic, not losing a single player.
Fortunate aspect is that G2 has built a bit of a bank, so they'll still be in a reasonable position here. In fact, the wallets are slightly smaller on that of Fnatic's side, so it's not all gone just yet. I mean, winning that eco did give them a nice 3-round spread. It's something to build off of. If you get toward 6 rounds, 9-6 sort of half against a team like Fnatic, sure, they've got all kinds of potential to win rounds T side as well, but without winning the pistol, that's a reasonable situation to be in. Really damaged though. RPK, 28 HP, and we've hardly even walked out of spawn at this point in time. Poor guy. But as he showed us, he only needs 5 bullets to get an ace.
Very true. Also want to point out, I'm putting a lot of pressure on Shox here. He's a player that, you know, people are going to be looking at after the very quiet performance in the first map. He did pick up those 2 kills, if I'm not mistaken, on their first kind of force buy in the second round. So yet to really make any sort of impression beyond that in these 6. So looking to maybe make a little bit more of a headway in towards these gun rounds, hopefully for his sake. Then again, he has been testing the waters over by those apartments where Jerry JW's been knocking down, but this time he's at CT Arch, and already Scream gets picked up so smoothly and so quickly that G2 are left reeling off the back of that.
Existence to regrab the bomb that was dropped at the top of middle. 56 seconds, so still lots of opportunity. Olaf's already actually shuffled over toward this support position inside CT spawn, so even if they try and wrap on the arch right now, there's going to be 3 Fnatic players that could potentially punish them for it. Olaf's actually going to put himself in the library, even more of an opportune position. JW goes down, but it's immediately traded by Flusha. Shox, however, does find Dennis. That's a small gap to try and work forward with, but Bomb, it's not in his hand, so he's not going to get a default plant into this. He's got to go toward 3 players and grab it again from that arch. And well, if he's going to try it, he might as well use everything he's got to do so. Quick little pump flash through, the snacks flash in, but it's Flusha that actually had the better position for it nonetheless.
Nothing fun about that 1v3, having to walk into that when you know they're literally just sat at that bomb, so I guess you might as well give it a good try. But then again, 3-3 now, G2. Scoreline-wise, I'm hoping they just kind of keep on level pegging. If they get a couple more on the T side, I think they'll be relatively happy. I don't know how much they can put weight towards at the moment. Then again, you know, I watched these guys before on this map, and I actually really liked their CT side. It was pretty passive, but it actually worked pretty well, and Fnatic really did struggle with it at the time. But then again, Fnatic are probably going to be hyper aware of this. And those nades, again, RPK was like, I'm going to sit back even deeper. No, screw this. I'm not going to walk up this time. And then it just like trickles, but like even further down, 47 HP for him.
Slow motion coming at his feet that time.
It's horrible. You can't, you know, you just can't avoid. Just there, like it's happening again.
Hello, where did you show up from? Pops out, surprise! I won't finish that sentence, but he didn't get the kill, so it doesn't matter. Fnatic now with just Smiths and Existence left against them. JW is the only one low enough to capitalize on anything, but I doubt they'll even get that far as Existence. And just sit at the bottom of Banana. Take this moment to stay alive and perhaps talk things out, use it as timeout time with the rest of your team. But nonetheless, Dennis will get the kill. It's going to go 4-3 now for Fnatic. That's 3 rounds in their favor. So we're starting to get a build for the money again on the T side. So they'll buy for this one, but a bomb plant will be the only thing that allows them to buy if they don't win it. So in the next round. So we got to keep an eye on their aggression. They haven't even really been getting in the sites as of late.
As you said, the little peekaboo moment there, and JW has absolutely none of it. But yeah, G2 back on the buy, as said. Hopefully for their sakes they can adjust, and I like this approach to take themselves through second mid. They know that the presence, just watching the straight up peaks through mid has been pretty aggressive actually, and they're going to try and capitalize on that quickly, peeking in towards quad, and Scream's made the most of it. Olaf goes down, this is beautiful, but now it's onto the hands of JW, and there's the spray. That's 3, goes back in with a deagle, and what a disaster for G2. It looked like a great idea on paper, but when JW does that, it all falls apart, but now Shox left in a 1v2.
Well, Shox did pick up the initial kill that was 1 versus 3. He's gonna get a bomb down as well. This time he's got it, but there's the accuracy we're knowing him for. He finally gets something rolling. He needs to be careful, though. His position's known. Flush has got him down to just 1 HP, and it's gonna be enough to hold against it. 19 in turn for Flusha, so it only would have taken 1 more bullet. It was an admirable effort from Shox. But JW, as you said, that 3 spray down just shut the round down entirely. It was impressive that Shox is able to pull it back this far. Crucially, they do get that bomb plant, so they'll be in a position to buy this round regardless. And if they wanted to, well, that's the big debate, because it would fully buy out Shox. They could drop over the AWP to Smiths. Looks like, and smartly I would say in that case, leaving a rifler completely glass cannon is not going to be the decision they go with. In fact, they stick on the Tech 9s. They don't even force at all. So
fair enough. They keep the buffer of like, what, 2.5k, 2.6 between them, a couple of them dipping below, but on a nice buffer going to the next couple of rounds. But I like that from G2, trying to make the most of the aggression Fnatic had been showing in mid, consistently peaking, and as said, it was just coming down to JW being an absolute monster more than anything, but you gotta feel for G2 in that instance. They've been doing relatively well actually on these sort of rounds, been doing a lot more damage in that sort of factor, but I think they actually might be missing out working off the back of that flash towards mid then, as someone did just kind of drop off the cart, but looks like a little bit of a smoke play coming through. Got a hell of a lot of smokes here for G2, and we've seen how choreographed these pieces can be coming out from them for their sakes. Let's hope it does work out, and they do get the opener, but already Olaf going to be sitting pretty far back, pretty passive here in CT Arch with the AWP. Are you serious? He's gone around behind every single one of them, and now Dennis and JW are just left like, how the hell did that happen? And again, they made this site into these small little pieces in between the smokes, and they absolutely flourish with those Tech 9s, and it works out.
There's something about that. Obviously, movement mechanics come into it, so you can play that aggressive, fast style, but there's something about the mindset of just having these pistols where you just, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. You just kind of YOLO, and it works. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm basic, all right?
You are the most basic bitch I've ever seen, and I absolutely love it. It's fantastic.
That's fair. Yeah. Crim's going to hide out right now.
Crim's bot, just spinning
He's just spinning
around.
it out. I'm seeing it on the minimap. He's just hanging out like...
I love the troll from him. He's just holding down like the arrow key and stuff.
Just start shaking at a wall and hope for the best right now. Like, Little jiggles going on.
I love how trolly they are with it as well. Like, they're fully aware. It's just great. I just wanted to, like, just snap at a wall. Just for the sake of it. Come on, please. No. Okay, fine. Fine. Way to not amuse me. Alright, 5-4 though. G2. Seemingly doing better on the pistol rounds than they've been on the full buys to some weird extent, if you include Cobble, I guess. But yeah, Smith's back on the AWP here. He's not had the biggest of games yet, I feel, at least with the AWP in hand. He's been doing pretty well with that Tech 9. I think he got 2 kills last round, so hopefully he can replicate that a little bit.
Well, now they do have the AWP on Smith, so we'll see if this amounts to anything. More of a standard default. No aggressive peek from Fnatic either. JW has elected to go the long way around the A site to get to the Boiler doorway. But with Dennis already in the hallway and JW looking to take over Boiler, this is more of a forward stance. It's a minor detail, though, in the fact that it may not actually see that much activity. Early enough in the round, it's not uncommon to check out both sites on the Terra side, but right now, initially, they're putting a little bit of pressure at the top of Banana.
Yeah, it's always terrifying, though, the idea that you have to get past not only Olaf Meister, who's got like the highest stats on this map pretty much across the board, but then Crims, who's just renowned for this speed play. But I think we're just slowly starting to see Shocks did consider maybe a little bit of attention towards Apps and then backed away from it. He's curious because JW's been consistently up there. He's been constantly just going a little aggressive, falling back, and G2 have to then at least try and take control of Apps if they wanted it. But the lineup of Banana is coming through, and it looks like they're about to go on this one.
And they go nonetheless. There's going to be 3 players here because they didn't get enough information. They didn't do anything to force that rotation. So we'll come back to that Shocks point in a moment. 3 HP now for Existence, and Olaf just lines up 2 on entry, finally traded by Scream. But it's still not going to be enough to get the bomb in position because it's still got to be recovered. It's dropped down toward water. Flusha pours through, and he'll take him back in turn. So it's all left on Shocks again. 1 versus 3, M4 in hand. Dennis directly in front of his crosshair, but not able to react in time. And it looked like Shocks did want to start to lurk in toward apartment, which would have been perfect in that case because they had 2 players toward it. It would have been enough of a distraction to leave the 3rd man over at the A site and potentially start to evaluate the top of middle. He gave up on it without actually checking it, and they walked back into B, which ended up having 3 players there. So I think Shocks needs to take more initiative on those lurks.
I think there's a lot left to be kind of discovered with G2 and just finding information on the T side at the moment. They seem absolutely scared, witless, let's call it for now. I wonder if JW is going to peek down to second mid. He loves going for this sort of shot, and he's going to get it as well. Trages it out, though. Smith does find Olaf while that goes down. But, you know, kind of characteristic plays from these guys, and G2 are left kind of thinking, how do we, 1, deal with the aggression coming from Fnatic, and then 2, how do we get the information off the back of that? Can we take Apps control? Can we get up Banana? So far, they've been struggling on pretty much every single front.
Yeah, there's definitely been some information issues for G2. JW, look at this, I love it. Come on, chicken. Just shoot the chicken. Oh, he's got the AWP close enough. Shocks out wide peak, but didn't expect JW to be there. Either way, he couldn't react in time. Smith's now around the corner. Thank you very much for the team flash. He won't go much beyond that. However, it's equalized to a 3 versus 3 as Flusha has got the even and kill. Dennis pushed forward, caught out by Smiths just through the edge of the smoke, and now they can start to push on the A site. Doesn't spot Flusha, peculiarly enough. I thought he would have saw him on the left on the initial peak, but it does allow for Existence to get the trade in the end, and that means now they've got the man advantage against just Crims.
All right, Shocks is down in pit already, waiting for this one. There is a flash and a molly left here, but this is such a hard play to come back from. They know it. Existence is just over the other side here. Gonna flash onto the other side, try and keep him guessing, trying to keep him wondering where the hell is he, and Crims.
There it is.
Crims, why you gotta be like that, man? He's gone for the spray and he gets it. Now 1v1. He's got a hell of a lot of health and a molly, but time is running out here. He's gonna make the move and make it fast. Shocks just needs to buy time, but he goes for the peak. He's down to 10 HP. This could be a clean pickup, and if there's time left, I would have kicked myself, but I think we are out of time here. Surely not on this.
This is actually,
No.
I think he's got it. Yep, he's just got it.
What the hell
That's the
is
extra
Shocks
5
doing?
seconds right there, and some players still aren't adjusted to it. I like how he goes back to remind us of how that all started, but man, that is a little bit of an overcommitment, a massive overcommitment in the end by
didn't
Shocks.
need to peek. Like, worst comes to worst, okay, he gets mollied out, but why would you peek like that? You know where the bomb's planted for. That is just frustrating as hell. As you said, the additional couple of seconds, it can make so much of a difference. Even I'm not used to hearing it now. It's like, wait, that's over? No, it's not. Okay. Well, clearly Crims is used to it by now.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Shocks would be thinking potentially in his head after years of playing a 35-second timer that, okay, I can still face right now. And unfortunately, like I say, it's a slight overface in the fact that it was literally a slight split difference,
It was a second.
but it's massive in terms of the implication it now has. They're still going to be able to get out an AWP on Smiths, but look at the nade damage again off the start of this round. Fnatic is absolutely dunking nades against them because 2 of them are below 50 HP and Scream's on 71, and they haven't even had any chance to fire back at all. Not only that, yes, they've got the AWP back. They've only got 2 smokes to try and execute with.
This is devastating for G2. It's going to get harder and harder. Considering there's still mollies on the table as well for Fnatic, they can fall to that if they need to, just to do a touch more damage. But look at Crims, just head above the smoke, peers out, finds Scream, backs away. And again, no information gathered. Fnatic just working off the back of one singular smoke.
Smith's going to try now to open up inside of B. Olaf is back towards CT, but the Molotov comes out late. All right, that's a problem. Smith's nearly able to spot the player crossing through the flames. Doesn't land a shot on Olaf, but what does do is tell Olaf, all right, we got an AWP approaching B. They want to try and open this up. Let's get better positions to shut down the entry and continue to use utility to slow it. That utility's gone down to just a single flash, but you've got Crims in a great position. Smith goes down. Olaf gets a bit aggressive. Over faces, I was about to say, but it's Olaf. You can't discount him. 2 kills for him, and instantly the round now is pretty much gone and done. Crims confirms that.
I just want to make you say about more often, if I'm honest.
Dude, the scoot is going to be oot a boot every round.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, please recap what happened here, because this is ridiculous.
That is like the most aggressive overcommitment ever, is it not? And then they line up. He goes down to 11 HP. Like, that is a situation where you almost have to hit the trade, and 9 times out of 10 you would, and somehow Olaf pulls that off.
Olaf is such a ridiculous player like that. There is a reason why he's such a monster, and you couple him with Crims on that side, you get the perfect utility play and the aim monster to kind of just meld it together. And again, look at these nades. Instantly down there. Just whether it's a gun round, not, it doesn't matter. These guys do so much initial damage, they're just nice and supple by the time they push through. And Fnatic just happily sitting back, claiming the kills. Now Flusher finds shots, and he finds another.
And I don't mind talking over this round because it's pretty straightforward anti-eco, but you actually touched on something that's really, really valid for note. And that's Crims as well being in that B site. We don't think of him being this sort of standout individual skilled superstar, but he's so efficient. And so much so that he's able to anchor down choke points. You think about Connector on Mirage, B site here. If he can do that, if they can put that much confidence in him and he's able to allow Olaf to rotate sooner, that makes their A defense that much stronger from the off site, which is a super impressive, I guess, just characteristic of Crims.
And the weird thing is, initially, they kind of switched up. When Dennis joined this lineup, Dennis took the position that Crims had on that B site for a while, and then Crims had to kind of play where Pronax used to, which was kind of by, by pit, a little bit by quad. And it seems that Fnatic were like, okay, that works for a little while, but we want to go back to, some of our core strengths. And it's nice to see Crims back in this spot. So it's, as you see, and as you said, he really does come alive in these sort of positions. And G2 again, how many rounds have they not? Look at these nades. Existence is down to 10 HP on a fully invested round. He's got the molly, he's got smoke, 2 flashes. So devastating.
New rule: if they want to go to the banana, you got to go up alt mid, back through the underpass, and then go to banana, because you're not walking up those stairs without taking damage.
Ridiculous.
Flush shot getting RPK. JW getting Smiths despite him getting 1 kill sooner, and oh well, all right. Fnatic feels bad, I guess, in this case, because they're going to start to help them out. Yeah, why not? Dennis trading JW on G2's behalf. I still want to call them Titans sometimes, but Olaf now getting a little bit of smoke support from his teammate. He's going to try and fire through and find Scream, but Scream actually utilizing that perfectly, pops out and gets Dennis on the right side, and it brings it back to 2 versus 2. HP very low, so they're going to have to be quite coordinated about how they go about retrieving this bomb. Scream thinking about checking it out from the boiler instead, taking the alternate angle. But he pretty much has to be the one to find this next pick. Existence will hold angles. He's not going to do anything crazy to make a play happen. It's got to be Scream. And this lurk actually might work because there's no one covering off toward apartment side.
And to be fair, there's no better play for this Scream, though. He had the checked in towards pit just as Crims came around. Now, Existence, as you said, he was the guy to be holding the back, making sure no one flanks him, just holding these angles very passively, but now with only 10 HP after the volley of nades that came down, he's going to be kind of left with all to do, and you don't want to mess with fire right now. That's a very bad choice as Olaf just waits ever so patiently. Does let him slip around the corner, so might even get a plant out of this if he's super lucky, but Olaf closes in with Crims, and they have none of it. So Fnatic putting themselves up to a solid score.
Why, Crims? That chicken did absolutely nothing to you.
How do you know that? Maybe Crims has some real issues.
I mean, that's...
You're making assumptions here, and that's rude.
I'm sorry. Chicken didn't give away his position with running, didn't do anything that round.
It's true. That round. It was like, haunted from the past, some real flashbacks with chickens. But then again, let's just see if there's any nades coming out this time. I'm hoping none do. Look at the nades at the bottom of Banana, nothing there. Okay, this time G2 kind of negate that. But then it's like, what's the next obstacle? Okay, it's JW just being super aggressive with the AWP. How much can we get here? And there we go. There's the first. Shox goes down. And the eternal battle of apartments again gets won by JW.
G2 are almost... Okay, all right. RPK dead. Okay, Smiths as well. Come on, hit another one just for the sake of it. Existence does finally trade it. Scream will walk in as well, but JW showing off some absolute flair with that AWP. Nice shot from Scream, finally showing off what he's known for as well. 2 kills for him in the round of 2 to go. If they want any chance of making this a 10-5 half, that third one's going to be gifted. Flush is too low on HP, and this will allow a plant. But Scream, not knowing how far away Olaf is, goes for the initial fake and expects the peek. All that really does is bode well for Olaf to get closer before Scream can deal with this situation. And again, absolutely not sure where he's going to be. Olaf's going to get the free kill against him. A decent try in the end, but 11-4 is going to be our half.
Certainly will be an overall Fnatic. Just showing why they are so dominant at this map. It doesn't matter how far you go, it does end up towards that sort of marker. So on the switch, this is where I want G2 to start shining, though. I want to see what they had here, but when JW's doing this stuff, this is after the first kill that was ridiculous anyway. Then he backs away. I'm like, okay, that's done. No, it's not. All right, Smiths get absolutely wrecked. Just gets shown to his chair off the back of that. And from then on, Scrim did have his moments, to be fair.
I was about to say, when they walked up the stairs initially, Shox just walks up the stairs into Boiler. Doesn't even look like he's pre-aiming that spot where you might expect someone to be, regardless of whether it's AWP or a rifle. It seemed like G2 were just kind of hoping that they were going to get the angles. Like, oh, we'll deal with it when we get to the site, but let's not calculate for any pushes or anything unorthodox from Fnatic. They just didn't take the chance to clear corners, use utility to move players fast enough, and it often resulted in giving up really lopsided early picks. So definitely got to be a little bit more alert and more prepared.
Just a touch. Alrighty. 4-11. G2, you better get this pistol. This is when you want Shox to turn up. This is when it's like, okay, who's the guy who's really good with pistols on this lineup? Shox. He just shines so brightly. But then it's like, Fnatic, are you going to go for the Tech 9? Are you going to drop it off to Olaf? Are you going to do any of that? Or are you just going to go on the Glock train? Looks like the Glock train is awaiting. Absolutely nothing in the way of smoke. No nades, no flashes, no nothing else. Just going in on the armor with the Glocks. And on the other side, exactly the same. All armor and then one decoy and Scream. So taking the little first shot there, Shox. And thus far, finding absolutely zilch.
And already the Fnatic occupying the bedroom, the boiler, the hallway and the apartments. JW also looking at the top of middle. It's just going to be an explosive call to go toward this A site. As soon as JW gets to that edge, as soon as Shox is spotted, they'll run quickly, but they actually think about this with that early aggression and no one being on the Archway side. They look to go for the wrap. However, bomb's in the hands of Olaf right now and toward the apartment, so this has to be quick and concise from Fnatic because they've given up a lot of ground, and suddenly G2 kind of catch Fnatic in their own plans. It doesn't work out to not only pull the player from pit, but kill the two on the Arch side, so Olaf's just got to wait even further as Dennis tries to open the round back in their favor.
Problem is, Scream's absolutely nowhere at the moment, and Shox just got the kill on Olaf then. It's just left Dennis alive now. He shouldn't be allowed any room here. The bomb is nowhere near him, but RPK faces completely out in the open, gets picked up with the USPS. Now, we do have one USPS with Scream, so he's possibly trying to hold maybe a little bit of a longer angle from maybe T-Apps possibly, and there's Shox in with that P2K, and they're going to double peek, and oh my god, Dennis has already got one! He's gone back in on the second. Shox finally puts him down, but that was so dangerous. They could have set up a crossfire, they could have been maybe more passive. I don't know, you know, hindsight is 20/20, but swinging out on players is always pretty dangerous, especially when it's going to be Dennis, who's doing pretty well this game so far, towards the top at least. So, you know, I don't know, maybe a little bit dangerous then, but I guess you got to go all in on this one as G2 are down so many rounds, but 5-11.
That would have been like icing on the cake disaster for G2 to lose that round, to let that slip away, especially after securing the bomb so far away from the site, the second player. But Flush it now. Shows what little utility they have up toward middle. They do actually get the opening kill as well and make that doubly so. Great shot from Dennis as they push forward. A little bit overzealous as he tries to pick up the rifle. Instead gets caught in the act by Smiths, who also takes Flusha, but Crims is there to continue this forward stance, this forward charge from Fnatic as they get a bomb plant out of this as well. Already a decent start, but the sewing machine goes to work again. It's Olaf to go down. Crims is in a decent position here as well with the M4 already grabbed, and he's got armor. First shot done already in Shox. It's not going to get any easier as he's only got an MP9 down at 2 HP initially, and there it is. The repeat from Crims will secure it, and Fnatic answer back immediately. That's both halves of this game, by the way, that we've had an eco to start off the half.
Yanko's going to have a field day building up stats to this one. Every time he gets changed around, he just sits there shaking his head. It's great. You know, anytime Yanko's unhappy, it makes me very pleased deep down. I'm not sure why. But, no, it's kind of worrying, isn't it, right? You get the bomb plant on B, and then there's just Crims. It's like, what? Don't look at me like that, Yanko. I see, like, the piercing eyes coming in from the side of the room.
He thinks he's tough, but he's just a big doll. He's a big baby.
You say this while we're on air where he can't attack you.
That's why I'm doing it now.
You're a smart man. Yeah. Your timing is good. But yeah, it's like out of every player to be left alone in that B side, JW was a mile away. Of course, it's Crims. It's like Crims' domain. You come into that, you're going to be kind of up against it. And, well, G2, Shox has got a rifle. Everyone else on the 5.7s. And on the other side of things, you got the Tech-9 on Flusher, but the others kind of sitting pretty well with the rifles there. Only, okay, 3 smokes left as well, so they've got a lot to work with. They don't need to rush this. There's still a minute on the board, but they're forcing Shox around pretty early on, so already G2 maybe hedging their bets there. Shock's going to put himself over there with the rifle towards B. Send Existence packing over towards A, but Fnatic already have 4 players basically lined up here.
JW with a flashbang, just cover off that archway side right now as they evaluate their options. A little bit slow about it, but there's no reason to try and push in. They know that they're going to be up against pistols, so this turtle defense right now inside the A site could actually work out. If they can find the clicks fast enough and they can manage to get trade kills with these pistols, it would work in their favor, but it's going to actually be a push through CT. This is smart. They haven't spotted anyone to that point. They get Existence, massive damage dealt on him. He falls back in the site, and chances are, all right, they're burrowing. Let's get the other direction sorted out, and Flush is already evaluating what's going on in the B in the meantime. As Olaf catches Smith's rotating, that'll confirm as well as he spots a second player that they were, in fact, stacking up that A site. So well figured out from Fnatic as Dennis kills Shox. Finally screened on one. We're not done just yet, as he is going to go down. I take that back. It was actually RPK that got that kill on the offside. I thought it was Scream just on the timing of the shots fired, but it's nonetheless, it's Fnatic.
Yeah, Fnatic.
All Fnatic.
Just completely shafting G2 then. It's like, what can you do? They've literally penetrated everything. They've gone through CT Arch. They've tagged up the one guy who's kind of close on that, and there's like, okay, well, let's just power through to B, and really Shox already was dinked down. So, got a feel for them. 5-13 now. Fnatic on a roll. G2 looking like they're still suffering from maybe some of those issues that they felt in the first map here, certainly translating to the second. Considering not too long ago, G2 did actually manage to pick up a victory here, and that seems like such a curious statement to even say when you watch this game play out. It seems like such a different picture, and Fnatic again pushed up at the very precipice of mid. Crims just cracks it open straight away. No flashes, no smokes, just going in bareback, and JW just follows up. G2 are falling like flies.
And the 5 AKs not even scratched so far as they'll push in. That's more than a scratch, and a lot more than a scratch as RPK just takes the head off 2 of them. Quite easily done. Shox, though, meanwhile, can't get the job done on Dennis, and that means he'll just walk in, bomb to go down. It's all left on Scream, and he does not, unfortunately, have a kit to play with. So with this pistol, best case, he could try and run forward and get a gun if he waits long enough. He could actually do it. He's got 100 HP. He could do it actually post-detonation if he's clever enough about this.
So now you've set a marker. If he does it without, you know, if he makes the wrong choice, you're basically saying he's not a very smart person.
I mean, if that's what I've accidentally said, I'll accept it, but that is not what I meant.
You're a very cruel man. Poor guy.
See? Look at this. Go. Get a rifle. As soon as that explodes, run. We're just waiting for it to happen.
I'm so excited.
Oh, the problem is that Olaf went to pit to stay alive, so he could actually catch him in the process. But let's see, does he go? He actually is. Scream's going for it. He's going for it. Get an AK. Oh, Olaf shut him down. It was the only way it could have worked.
Ruining the hopes and dreams of Scream then. He was just waiting so patiently and so long. And now 5-13. You know, Fnatic, money's not phenomenal, but they don't really need it to be. They can just keep going back in on this one. G2 need to stop it right now. Simple as that. They've invested into everything they possibly can. Not an AWP to be seen, however, of course, as the money is still pretty shoddy, but G2 yet to really make Fnatic slow down and play the normal game that you see on Inferno. These guys are still just running rampage pretty much, and JW's got himself the AWP, even if it's on the T side of Inferno. This guy can do wonders, but look at the apartment side. It's just being purely contested here. Full control. Shox does win out against Dennis. Now, will he expect Olaf not too far behind? He's holding the right angle for it. Great stuff from Shox. That's what I expect to see from this guy.
Yeah, this is looking good now for G2. As those 2 early picks, the 5 M4s and 2 men stacking up inside the B. I use the word stacking incorrectly, but nonetheless, hold inside the B site to hold on a cross. Nonetheless, they find Scream first. The utility didn't actually dispel Existence. He elected to rotate early on his own. It was a late smoke toward that position, and that actually cost him at Flusha through the smoke, of all people. Dare I not say more. As it brings back to a 3 versus 3. And with the bomb down, it suddenly actually is favorable for Fnatic. Shox is going to try and retake from Banana. He's got to time this with his teammates. It might create an opening in the fact that JW at water, if RPK goes through, that's an easy trade for them to try and secure. Better yet, the flash comes over. RPK does more than that. He finds Flusha with it. So it's just left to Crims.
But it is Crims' domain, and you almost found out as to why. Again, no kit on RPK as well. If only you'd known that maybe at the start, it could have been different. But the bomb timer slowly ticks away, and RPK will complete the retake. The rest of G2 did fall in the process, but they will get an AWP for this. You did hesitate, wondering if that was actually the right pickup, but they will go for it this time around. And they will maybe just fend off the walls for another couple of rounds. 14-6 now. And look at Dennis playing so well. Flusha having a great game. And it's nice seeing new names towards the top here, because considering normally it's, you know, on this map you see a Crims kind of going absolutely ham. Olaf at the very top of it all, but this is the thing with Fnatic. They have so many good players who can find that sort of form, even if it's, you know, in online games, it doesn't really matter. Every single player can do it, and Smith's going to go straight on the peak here. Going to be challenged down against Flusha, catches a glimpse of the arm, does adjust correctly, gets it done, can back away. He did have the support of 3 players. Now, if Fnatic realize this, I don't think they did see it. They would have gone for it, but Shox doesn't get the shot off.
That's such an unfortunate mistake to make as well. It's not even really a mistake, it was just poor timing because it gets caught out. They've already occupied the top of middle. It mounts for a free kill in the end for Fnatic, which brings them back into this as well. All right, Existence, a little bit zealous in that play. Not aware Shox, or rather, excuse me, JW was so close, but good response from Scream. That's exactly how it had to be done. They had to get that trade to make this at all viable. Smith still has an AWP, keep in mind, so that means he's got to find a pick early, or it becomes less and less likely that he'll be able to use it. There's an M4 just in front of him. I imagine if he can't find the pick right now, he grabs that when they go.
And I love that bait from Dennis, just buying the time, showing his presence there. Means they are constantly aware of this, and now the crossfire is already in place. But Scream walks straight in. Olaf goes down, and Smith hit this shot. You really do need to pretty damn fast. He finally gets it, but time.
No, no way. I don't think this time they've got it. That's so close. I like it.
Woo.
That was pretty risky. Smith's actually stuck with the AWP, which I'll give him credit. He hit the shot. That was a lot of faith to put in it, but when he missed that first one at Truck, I was already lamenting that decision, because if he had the M4, it seemed like it would have been easily done. But they pull it off, so G2 holding on by a hair in that one. It does force a round loss bonus. Rather, it actually avoids a reset, but it was a 3-round loss bonus, and they only keep 2 alive, so they're actually still pretty desperate for cash going forward. Fortunately, they did break Fnatic pretty quickly on that one.
Yeah, Fnatic looking a little worse for wear, and the 3-man stack again coming out towards that B side just to kind of escort the VIP, which is Smith's with the AWP, back him up and flashing in Scream a little. But this is not where Fnatic are going. Look how well set up they are for this A here. It's RPK and Shox in already. Shox gets absolutely deleted with the Deagle, and Crims finds RPK. This is a disaster for G2. They've suddenly lost all control of this A site.
This is really the only chance in Library. He actually manages Flusha, but we see it better from Olaf's perspective. Times it perfectly. Thanks for reloading. And what was that second shot? A 180 onto Scream. Instant 1-dig. And Smiths goes down to JW. That was pretty impressive from Olaf, I have to say. I did not expect that second shot to come out any day of Sunday. What is the British expression?
It's American, isn't it? Any given Sunday? That's like what the Scoot says
I think
every
it's a month of
event.
Sundays. In a month of Sunday. That's what it is.
I think you're making
I hear
things up.
British racing announcers say it, and I
think you're just lying. I think you're just lying. I think you say it with enough conviction, you might actually convince me, but for now, I'm going to stick by lying.
Isn't that what we just do as casters? We lie and try and convince people?
Essentially, yeah. I think you seemingly do it better than I do, but, you know, I'll give you credit where it's due. I'm not sure I've ever heard any other phrase regarding Sunday, but if you guys at home have ever heard anything of the such, do tweet at myself and Sadie Let us know, because I'm kind of curious now, but this is going to be Shox going wild. He only gets 1 Crims there with a trade out, and Fnatic on the cusp here of doing something pretty dastardly, as G2 can only sit back and wait to see what Fnatic have in store.
RPK, unfortunately, although he was able to dodge that flash, it was timed such that Olaf peeked before he could reset his aim. Smiths gets JW, does keep it at 3-3, but there's no gun to be grabbed from that, and it leaves Smiths in a quite forward position right now to try and hold from potentially 2 Fnatic players that could push through. Smartly, though, Smiths takes advantage of that smoke and turn, and he actually could catch them off timing just so that he misses it. Now he's got a free chance on Olaf. Low HP he goes, but Crims is there. And that might just spell disaster, as both CTs are so far split up in the round that they're pretty much going to do it.
Existence did at least catch a glimpse of the bomb, but Scream, you're a million miles away, but can he play this out right? He's been playing this, he hasn't been really playing this side, so they might have a little bit of a catch out on this, and Look at the slow play coming out, and look who's waiting around the other side. What a way to lose it. Flusher just waits for Scream to go on the rotate, and that is Fnatic picking up the victory. G2 really not having the time of their lives in this one and just struggling to close it out.
Absolutely. I mean, that was a little bit better than obviously what we saw in Cobblestone, but again, their T sides, they just looked like they were expecting things to be gifted to them. They're walking up stairwells where there's going to be players, a common spot for people to play, not even really pre-aiming, not prepared at all, like a little bit slow in the draw in multiple situations. And the utilities, I mean, yes, okay, there was a few rounds they did well to bait out Fnatic's, but I never really saw them utilize theirs correctly. I mean, you look at someone like LG on this map that'll throw out as much as 3 smokes, 4 Molotovs, all in the span of about 7 seconds into a site. And these guys are spreading out everything so much that they can't even use them in tandem, so it's a bit peculiar to me.
And it's kind of surprising considering its existence, right? The one that everyone hailed as the guy who could be the methodical leader of everything, and you see it sometimes coming together on maybe the ecos or the force-ups, but it's not quite coming together on the gun rounds, and they are the ones that really do count in the end. So guys, we're going to head over to the analysis desk to hear from Yanko and Lee.
Thank you very much, guys. And honestly, Sadakist, how could you get Saskuti's main line wrong on any given Sunday? There's even a film about it, American football film. It's like it's literally something Saskut will say every time. I guarantee he'll say it at the next major.
And it's not a bad film at all.
It's a very good film. It's Al Pacino. It's really good. But it's not a Sunday, and clearly Fnatic couldn't give a monkeys about that. And they just literally carried on where they left off. There was a couple of moments, though, Yanko, at the start. It was going tit for tat, back and forth. There was that 1v3 that Shox very, very nearly came out on top of, and then got the head dink through the box, and unfortunately didn't get a kill.
Yeah, but he was already low, and Flash attacked him through the same plank and got the kill in the end. But you could see it continued the same from Cobble. Fnatic were playing a bit recklessly still. That's what caused them to lose that second round after winning a pistol round. But you know, even being down 3-1. Early on, they managed to pick it up. I mean, look at this team. In this particular 2 best of ones, so to speak, you had Flasha and JW mostly, you know, top fragging for their team. Dennis was the third man in. It's so like, take your pick. We're gonna pick if it's not Olof or Crims or Dennis. Now you have Flasha and JW playing really well. Flasha, who after taking the in-game leader role, his performance did drop a little bit and so on. That's why Fnatic is the best team in the world. Any of these players, if with a good performance, can carry his team to victory.
And one that obviously the commentators were talking about in there was Crims for a short while. 11th round, the 2v1 after plant situation where he was just sat in cubby in the smoke. It's actually Moto, actually, tell a lie. He was sat in Moto, and then he was jiggling around, having a bit of fun, and then he just, you know what, I'm just going to fire. And finds himself one, and then manages to get the man in pit. I mean, and the defuse. It's just, it's horrible.
I'm going to talk about this very briefly.
This was the bomb time, I'm guessing.
This is why I dislike the new changes. After seeing a couple of tournaments, how it plays out. So, in a situation where the cities are already at the site where the bomb is planted, and with 5 extra added seconds, we saw it, I think, 2 times in this particular game. They have so much time, and what that means is, so the T's, they already did the hard part. They got into the bomb site, they planted the bomb. And now they should have the option of playing, you know, for time, playing, you know, smartly and so on. But because there's added time for the cities, they're forced into these weird decisions where they have to go for the pick. Because you can't play for time, there's so much time left, so you have to play for the kills. And, you know, sometimes you'll just be stuck in awkward positions after the trades coming into the bomb site. And then instead of having the benefit of being able to outsmart your opponent, maybe, you know, go for some tricky plays and so on, sometimes you're just forced to peek and go for the kill. Because if you don't, you're just going to get overwhelmed and they're going to get the retake.
And speaking of peeking, you know, going back to obviously the second half, the pistol. Dennis so very close to getting a pistol ace in there, and they just kept on peeking him, and he was finding heads after head. And then the opponents, they kind of didn't double peek; they came one after instead of like normally.
That's what saved them.
Someone's down apartments, okay, both peek him at the same time, get him down there. Instead, it was like one.
he almost got it. I mean, Dennis. Probably one of the best pistol players in the world. We saw it in they lost that round, but then they won the following round. He got 2
deagles, straight away. So he got 6 kills in 2 rounds.
That's the thing. Even, you know, G2 went for that, tried to get banana control early, sent 3 people there, but, you know, just some crazy headshots from the Fnatic guys won them the round.
So Fnatic 4-0 now, dominating at the top. Did we really expect anything less? I don't think so. So solid stuff from them. So we're going to be moving on, of course, to the next match, which will be Virtus Pro versus Dignitas. That's going to be coming up after the break in a few moments. But quick initial thoughts, and I mean quick.
Yeah, I want to see a closer game. I want to see some, better performance from VP. They've been really underwhelming so far in 2016. While on the other hand, Dignitas, as we mentioned, they have been on the rise. So it's gonna be a tough game for VP. I would even dare to call Dignitas favorites in this one, considering recent performances.
Yeah, and you guys at home, don't forget to get involved. Use the Twitter at ESLCS and the hashtag ESL Pro League. You guys can get involved and tell us exactly what you're thinking, and maybe we'll even look at them. That sounds a little harsher than it should be. We'll see you after the break, guys. It's going to be Virtus Pro versus Dignitas. Nearly forgot.